I'm Nick in the States, and today we've actually got a Tim and Nick double take, where my buddy Tim and I go through some gears, some new guitars, stuff like that, and talk about it. And this is the first one, so bear with us, but we're working through. I've known Tim for years. We lived together. Ironically, we started playing together after we stopped playing together.
When it was less convenient.
Yeah, before children.
Yes.
And with a lot of hangovers. It's good times. But today, to kick things off, I actually want to talk about one of my favorite guitars, and it's a Gibson ES-135.
She's a beauty.
It's from 1999 or 2000. The 135 is a semi-hollow, a lot like a 335 from Construction. So it's plywood top, sides, and back. It's got a center block. Unlike the later 137 or even a 335, this is like a lucite, which is some type of thin wood. The 335s and the 137s actually have a mahogany center block, so they're a little heavier. They only made these for like 4 or 5 years. A word of caution, if you really like it, the later ones, if they have a patch panel in the back, this is a solid back. If there's a spot to get to the pickups, the back of it, they're kind of less desirable. And then they made ones that didn't have F-holes. So the last couple years, Gibson did what Gibson does, and sometimes messes up.
It does beg the question, why did they stop making?
Cheaper. Oh, why'd they stop making it? Well, they replaced this guy with a 137. So just like this came stock with a trapeze tailpiece, which is why I could put a Bigsby on it without having to have there's no post holes left over from a stop tail. But on the 137, they put stop tails on them, and they had a couple different options for inlays on the neck and whatnot. So this was basic in some ways, but I like it because I could add a Bigsby with, very simple process, no leftover holes on the top. If you saw my Harley Benton E35 video, I had to use a Towner DTB to fill those holes and do something with them. So
I believe the 137s are much higher price point.
They came in higher. I think they started lower because they didn't have binding. They painted over the binding and they were solid. But then like the classics and the customs got really up to $2,000, and they still sell used in the anywhere from $1,200 to $1,800 range for a 137. You can buy these if you hunt for right around $1,050, $1,100.
There was an ES-333. If you blinked, you missed it.
Yeah,
I think
same kind of low. Yeah. In that they came out about the same time.
Disappeared quickly though.
So it's a nice alternative to just another 335, that kind of stuff. Quick specs: it's Grover tuners, 24 3/4-inch Gibson scale, 2-pneumatic bridge, 2-volume, 2-tone. Came with a trapeze tailpiece. This has a Bigsby B7 on it. Dot neck, no binding, no. It's just a silkscreen headstock. So you kind of get a feel for.
I'm missing my headstock here. There we go.
There you go. So you kind of get a feel for the basic things. But what's great about this is it gives you a lot of different tone options. So if we listen to a couple of the clean tones that she'll do. And we're coming out of a Fender Princeton Reverb.
I like that middle. It's nice.
It's got some soul to it.
It's full.
They've got a very nice clean tone. And this actually is 57 Classic, both in the bridge and in the neck. It's really nice, but where I think this guitar excels is when you give it a little bit of... because she's semi-hollow, you can also spank it around quite a bit and give it a little bit of heavy drive. So we're going from the Soul Food, which is the middle one, and now we're going into a TC Electronics Dark Matter.
Sweet.
It's nice.
Cool.
Yeah, man. So she's a lot of fun,
Getting
right?
carried away there. Now,
So-
these are the stock pickups. Right?
Those are stocks. I haven't done anything to this other than put on a Bigsby on it and get a setup on it something like 7 years ago. So-
Yeah, it's still, she plays nice. It's smooth.
Yeah, and it's great for someone who's just coming up into the Gibson range, or they've played a lot of Epi Dots studios, Epiphone Dots, maybe casinos, things like that, and they want to move up into the Gibson range. It's something for about $1,000, give or take. You sometimes can steal them.
Is this body depth it's same as a 335?
It's a smidge thicker. It's the same thickness as when 335s were a little thicker, but the original ones were a smidge thinner than that guy.
This would probably make a nice rockabilly guitar.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I've seen a lot of guys will put Filtertrons or Hylotrons, something like that, in there to kind of get even more Gretschy for cheap. But it's a Gibson, so it's built like a tank. It's not going to fall apart, and it at least holds its value. So
True. Very true.
it's one of my favorite ones. Like I say, if you're looking at getting into the Gibson range and don't feel like blowing huge money, they're a lot of fun. Funny story. So I've had this for 12, 13 years at this point. My dad had this in natural with gold finish and that kind of stuff, which I now have here too. So we have similar tastes in the same guitar. Where he's like, you know what, I got a 135. The thing's awesome. I'm like, I've got one of those too. So anyway,
Wouldn't you imagine that buying a Gibson at about $1,000 is cool because you can justify a pickup swap?
Yeah.
Which
or a Bigsby.
I never understood people that you see online who spend thousands and then they want to change something, you know. But
and it's not the end of the world when a ceiling fan hits it and you get a little scratch. I thought I broke it. It was a string and I hit it. I'm like, oh my god! And it's just a little scratch.
the neck, a little bit of mud, but not bad.
And it's this is an amp that does it a lot of justice. In some situations, it almost sounds a little cardboardy. Like I've always wanted to switch out the neck pickup in it for a P94 or a Seymour Duncan Fat Cat, like a P90 in a humbucker case, just to give it a little bit more definition and life
I
to
could
it.
probably tweak it out on the amp, but it was a little bass heavy, but that's never bad. That's what you want out of a neck pickup. It's all.
No, that's a really good point, though. And that's the one thing that I was never a big fan. Ironically, my dad's, the neck pickup's smoother. It's almost more like full-body jazzy tone than this guy is, which is just weird.
It does. It gives it a nice balance, though, on the middle section, you know.
Yeah.
But.
Cool. Well, anyway, this has been a double take. I've been Nick in the States, and...
I'm Tim, Nick's sidekick for the day.
You got it. Thanks, guys. As always, we got issues. Take care.
See ya.